What's going on, everyone? JD back with another podcast. I'm excited to bring some new guests onto the kind of the third season, as you will. We're interviewing a lot of great Douglas Elliman agents and some top agents with a lot of experience, a lot of background stories, which is exciting because I get to learn about them too. And what I'm trying my best to is not to really talk to them prior to this. So therefore, I get to know them at the exact same time you are. So that'd be fun for everyone who's watching as well. So I'm going to bring to the screen pretty soon Maria Garate. She's from San Diego, the Coronado Queen. She's been in the industry for now 7 years now. Joined Douglas Elliman for the past 4 years. Top small teams from place 1, 2, and 3 as well. Her average price point's around $3 million out in Coronado. Coronado is a beautiful area, great price point. So that's where she tries to dominate there. So now I'm going to bring her to the screen right now. All right, Maria, how are you?
JD, I'm great. I'm so excited.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So you are in beautiful San Diego. I have a soft spot for San Diego. I am born and raised in San Diego. So I'm very jealous that you get to sell San Diego. But I met you a couple times at different events. I met you, I believe, at last one was Inspire.
Yeah, at Aspire. Yeah.
Out in Florida.
Yeah, such fun events. I love going to those. And yeah, San Diego also has a soft spot in my heart. I haven't been able to leave in 20 years.
It's funny. I love it. I've been obviously born and raised there. I mean, the weather, obviously everyone knows. I mean, that's the thing. San Diego, like, oh, the weather, how is it? Tell me.
I know.
No, it's beautiful. There's no doubt about that. I still follow the San Diego sports teams religiously. It's still part of me, always will part of me. So thank you for obviously coming on, Maria. I mean, I told him briefly a bit your experience kind of thing, but this is your time to kind of tell them more about you, in a sense, to tell us about yourself, how you got into business, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
About myself, I guess I'll start. I was born in Mexico City, so Mexico also has a super soft spot in my heart. I consider myself half American, half Mexican.
Okay.
And I moved to the U.S. when I was 10 years old. I say I moved, but in reality, my mom moved me, right? I was 10 years old. I had no idea what was going on. We packed our stuff. She bought a one-way ticket. I have so much respect for her for doing that.
Yeah.
I'm very clear now why she did it. She wanted to give us that better life, that American dream, the safety. So she moved my brother and I. He was 8, I was 10, with a one-way ticket to Coronado.
What part of Mexico?
Mexico City.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Because you're Mexican too, right?
I am. Yeah. My parents are from Jalisco.
And do you go back often?
Honestly, it's been a minute since I've gone back, to tell you the truth. Just via cruises. So yeah, very, very authentic, but that's about it.
Yeah. It's hard to go back all the time. There's so many other places to see, but
Sure.
I always tell people, if you haven't been to Mexico, you got to go to Mexico, especially if you're a foodie. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, where I grew up. And then the rest of my life has been here in Coronado. I went to Coronado High School, Coronado Middle School, and then lived in San Diego. I now live in San Diego over the bridge. For those that know San Diego, Coronado is this little peninsula right next to it, this beautiful, magical town. And some might believe that you don't leave Coronado. So people go, you go over the bridge? I'm like, yeah, I live on the other side of the bridge. But yeah.
You moved straight to Coronado?
Yes, from Mexico.
Wow. What do you think spoke to your mom about Coronado? What did she tell you?
Yeah, so my grandma was already here living in Coronado.
Okay.
So we would visit
Gotcha.
every summer. My grandma has been living here. She's also from Mexico, but she's been living here for 35 years.
Okay.
And she actually started selling the towers where we specialize. So she started selling 30 years ago when they were building these towers. She started selling them. It's 1,500 units. And so we would come visit her. This is where she worked. This is where she met her husband. And so naturally, when my mom moved us, it was a safe space for her my mom worked in the marketing industry in Mexico, safe space for her to come here and have a job, be able to support her 2 kids. And so she joined my grandma back then in real estate. And that's how Coronado's been our home. It's been Coronado, our home, and also business.
That's crazy. So your grandma, what company was she with?
She started with Coldwell Banker 30-something years ago.
Wow.
And then moved to Willis Allen Real Estate 20-something years ago, and is still there.
Wow. At what point when growing up did you realize what she did? Or you always knew that's what she did?
What's interesting, so these towers, right? 1,500 units.
Are these the taco towers? The famous?
These are the taco towers. Yeah. So
All right.
this is the Shores in Coronado. And so it's
Yep.
it's 10 buildings. Each building has around 150 units, and it's
Yep.
located right next to the Hotel Del. So if
Yep.
anyone's ever Coronado, the iconic Hotel Del, I love it. It was built in 1888. So much history to it. And I
So
love
much.
historic and everything that
The
comes.
brunch there. The brunch there. Oh.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's just a stunning hotel.
Yep.
And so it's the towers that are right next to that hotel, right? So 1,500 units, 16 towers, 16 floors, right? So it's unit 608, 908, 705, 702. So I didn't used to understand what my grandma did for a living.
Sure.
But we sit at the dinner table, and my mom, because my grandpa also worked in real estate, it's been a family thing, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
So they would sit and they would spew all these numbers out, and us kids would just look at them and be like, why are they always talking about these numbers? No, I didn't understand what she did until I was probably 13 years old, when I ran the first errand during an open house and set out some signs and printed some flyers and would drop them off. And then I was like, okay, yeah, so she sells these.
Gotcha. That's cool. That's so cool. So let's go back to the story. So you moved here from Mexico to San Diego to Coronado at a young age. You went to school there, and then you went to middle school, elementary, middle, and at high school. Where'd you go to college?
I went to San Diego State.
Okay, so SDSU. Cool. So
Yeah.
what was your major there?
Business.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. At that point, going to business school, was that like, okay, I see being in the real estate industry, that's where I'm think I'm headed, or no?
Not at all.
Not at
No.
all, okay.
So I've always had a passion for business. My dad was a businessman.
Sure.
I love failing businesses, or I used to love failing businesses,
Okay.
because I love the logistics and the problem solving on why is a business failing and how can you get it to be a successful business, right? What is it missing? So I always loved that. I'm a huge problem solver. And so that's why I wanted to study business and go in and help businesses that weren't doing well.
Yep.
So that's why I went to school. That they had a great program at State. I wanted to stay locally because I love San Diego.
Sure.
But no, real estate, it was the one thing I was so sure I didn't want to do. It's okay, great. The runs in the family, that's amazing. But I also didn't see real estate as a business, or being a realtor as running your own business. I didn't understand that side of it. And so I was very sure I didn't want to be a realtor. I studied at San Diego State. And on my last semester, I said, I haven't studied abroad. I love traveling. And I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. And my advisor said, it's really not smart for you to study abroad your last year, because you're going to miss all the job fairs and opportunities for a job after school, after you graduate.
Right.
I have to study abroad. So I ended, because where I wanted to study abroad was Japan, and the semesters there are different times than the semesters are here. So I ended my schooling in San Diego. I transferred to a school in Japan. I studied economics there. I graduated there, and I came back after my amazing 6 months there, where SDSU was done, the job fairs were done, and I said, okay, now what?
What now?
Now what? This is what they were talking about. But that being said, Japan was an amazing experience. I'm glad I did that. But I came back wondering what I was going to do. And so I sold software at a company for some time. I was doing the cold calling and the rejection and the super gritty, and it wasn't for me.
Sure.
That much.
But it gave you experience, I'll tell you that much. Holy moly.
It gave me experience. I learned a lot, absolutely. Because on this business, we do experience rejection, and you got to get outside of your comfort zone. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
But yes, so I was there for a short period of time. And at the same time, my grandma had a property management company that wasn't doing as well as she wanted it to do. I wouldn't say it was a failing company, but there was a lot of room for growth in the way that she wanted to build her property management company. And so her and I would talk about it. And I said, okay, this isn't really being a realtor. It's what I want to do. And she's giving me the opportunity of putting my skills to the test. So that's what she did. So she brought me onto her property management company, studied a little bit. I realized, look, you're making way more money, and it's a better stable company. You don't need as big of a team if you're doing just long-term rentals as opposed to vacation rentals. So I played around with it for a little bit. I was working with the property management company for 6 months before I realized real estate is awesome. And I love it.
I think it's funny how I meant, obviously, through doing these podcasts, other people, like, real estate was always there. But
Mhm.
especially if your family does it before you, people assume, oh, that's what you're gonna do. And then as a kid, you almost don't want to say yes because you don't feel like, oh, it's a free ride, a free ticket. No, you want to develop yourself, improve yourself. So we almost shy away from it or are super anti it because of that. And that's
Yes.
just, and I get it, that's super natural. But at a certain point, maturity comes, and then also you saw opportunity. You're like,
Yes.
oh, I see what you're doing, but I think we can make it better. But that's where your brains come into play. I'm sure where they appreciate it. All right, she's got business skills. She has a business degree. She's
Yeah.
also younger, so she can target different technologies and whatnot. So, but you had that aha moment 6 months after saying, okay,
Yeah.
makes
It
sense.
was pretty quick, in my memory, I think of it as 6 months, but it was pretty quick that I realized this is a super interesting sector, and it does play really well with what I studied and what I like.
Sure,
And I was at that point, I was seeing the sales side of it, but I was working more in the property management part of it, which
sure.
wasn't very alluring, and that's not the reason I loved it, but I could see the sales side of it and the relationships and that all of that really intrigued me. But you're absolutely right. In my experience, I felt a lot of stigma related to working for your family and in the family business.
Right.
And I think, and this could just be my own projections, right? And it's something that I've worked on, and it's looked at as, oh, she just works for her family. And that's a story I told myself for a long time
Of
until
course.
I realized the type of person that I am and what I bring to the table, and
Sure.
I'm confident. But back then there was stigma
Of
associated.
course, of course. I can only imagine, especially like if your parents or your grandparents and your mom who are doing well, right? It's you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, no wonder Maria went there. She's gonna
Yeah.
take the business. She's gonna hand over all the business, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, I get an opportunity to see the front lines of success and what that looks like. But then my goal is to take it to the next level, and that's why you're there, right? And that's super important. So your grandma was killing it, and then your mom also does real estate too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was my grandma and my grandpa. They were business partners. My grandpa sold boats as well. So yachts, home went together. And then my mom worked under them my mom's now been in the business for 20 something years. And she's also a phenomenal agent. My mom and my grandma are very different. So I got to learn from two very different personalities. I'm
Interesting.
so thankful.
Yeah.
My grandma is very direct and to the point and business. And my mom has this super soft side to her for relationships and how are your kids and it's she doesn't have the best memory. It's not like she's writing everything in a CRM. Neither of them knew what a CRM was, by the
Of
way.
course.
It was just you just
Yeah.
remembered that
Sure.
family. And I am both. I am business and direct, but I'm also relationships and bonds and the amazing people that we get to
Cool.
meet in this industry. And
That was actually gonna be my follow-up question. Which one are you like them? But that's good. You said I'm
I'm
a
in
little both. That's good. That's
yeah,
good. And I think that's what you learn as a newer agent too. For me too, you try to find people who you want to emulate. Like, okay, I like how that person does that. I like how that person does that. And then you try to make the ultimate perfect agent as you will, right? But you saw firsthand, like, oh, I like how she does this. Not a fan how she does it, but I like how she
yeah.
does this, right? I like so therefore you found the common ground between the two, which is cool.
Yeah, I found the common ground, and I would also say what I brought to the table, which was different from them.
Sure.
I am such a contract nerd, and I love the education that comes with there's a new form and there's that checkbox that you have to check to protect your client when they're doing a 1031 exchange and the contingency. I absolutely love that. And it
You're a
was
rare breed, I'll tell you that much.
I'm aware of that one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I brought to the table. And to me, that feels very whole.
Yeah, well, that's very cool. So you have a good story. So you came from obviously Mexico for the better opportunity. You're obviously your grandmother and your grandfather had a business already. So you saw. So you're also in a line of entrepreneurship. It looks like. Yeah. Did you feel that growing up too? Especially working at that tech company. Did you
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I don't see myself working for somebody, or did you feel different doing that too?
I didn't really have that mindset of working for somebody or not working for somebody.
Okay.
I've always been ambitious and I just wanted to do something that I was passionate about. And
Yeah.
whether that was going to be working for myself or for somebody else, I never really made the distinction.
Yeah.
Now that I work for myself, I don't think that one can go back. I would have to assume that's a very challenging thing. Sometimes I would like to have a 9 to 5 where I can clock off and I'm not bothered after 5 p.m. and I don't have to worry about expenses and working holidays. Sure, that sounds nice, but also I feel so blessed to be in the situation that I am and be able to be creative with my business and have control over my future and everything. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. It's funny. People always ask me like, what would take you to leave what I do? What's that salary look like? And I'm not gonna lie, it's extremely. You know you know what I mean. And so I'm like, no, that just shows you the value that I see what I do in that sense. Yes, I work long hours, holidays, like you said, but that sense of working for yourself, no matter what output I do, it goes to me and my team versus to someone else or whatnot. Like I'm doing it for all of us, rewarding. But at the same time, like I said, there's no freedom in real estate, but there is. Let's be honest, there is freedom in that sense where, hey, if I don't want to work today, I can say I'm not working today. I know it's hard for you and I to even say that or even think about doing that, but it's an option. It almost feel like if it's an option, you're okay with it. You might not do it, but knowing it's in the back of your mind, like, hey, if I don't have to work next week, I don't have to. That gives you almost that peace of mind knowing that you're not going to do it, Maria. Either mine, but we know it's an option, and that makes you feel more comfortable. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. And it's actually only been maybe the last year, maybe last 8 months where I'm more comfortable taking that time off. And that came from years of being a workaholic and not doing it the healthy way. Sure. And I value making sure I am taken care of. I come first. Maria is whole and able to work for her clients and run her business. And for that, you need balance. And that's just something I've learned with age is the balance has to come first.
No, it takes time. It definitely takes time. I will speak for myself, but it's an ongoing battle you're going to have. It really is, right? Because, like they say, strike when it's hot, right? So when it's hot, you're just go. You have to, right? Because you want to be there for your clients, for your team, for yourself. And of course, it's hard. You gotta literally mentally pull back or have someone on your team to say, hey, Maria, have you taken some time off recently? You know what I mean? And you go, no, I haven't. And then to have someone in your corner to do that, hopefully it's your mother, your grandma, or someone else that can do that for you. But I think that's super important too, because as time flies, 7 years, I'm sure it was a blink of an eye for you for 7 years.
Yeah. It has been. Well, and you have a little girl too. So I feel like, you probably have good boundaries with yourself. Like, hey, you want to spend time with your daughter. You want to make sure you're present. You want to make sure you don't miss really important times because those 9 years, I'm sure went like that.
Oh, I know it does, and honestly, that's a blessing in disguise. Having a child, right? It's just they pull you home, and there's nothing worse when your daughter says you got to leave again. I'm like, I quit, no more.
To answer your question on what it would take to leave, that comment.
yeah, and that's hard. It's hard. You learn obviously what you're doing is to better them too, right? To provide for them. So that's what you're doing, what your why is. But of course, you got to find that balance, which is important. And obviously, learning how to delegate, which is also very difficult to do too. And what we do, we have this control thing. We want to make sure everything is perfect, everything is aligned, all our clients are happy. That's hard to do. But talking to everyone, Maria, on this podcast who do amazing business, all struggle with this in that sense. It's hard. It's extremely hard. And our script goes, we're always there for you. And we are. We try to be always there for you, and the good and the bad. But also at the same time, I've learned through experience too. My clients welcome me saying, hey, I'm going on vacation. What they first thing they say is, have a good time.
Yes, absolutely.
Enjoy yourself. I won't bother you. And I'm like, okay, they care about me too. You know what I mean? And it goes both ways. So you give them the respect, they'll give you right back.
I agree with that 100%. And they do care. And it just takes that one time to broach that and then realize, oh yeah, we're all human.
Yeah, we'll be okay. Yeah, I'm not a robot.
We might have a client here and there where they're still going to call us during that. And that's fine. It comes with the job. But yes, absolutely. I agree with you.
So we are now in 2020. We're like in the last quarter of 2024 actually now. It's been an interesting, I'm not gonna lie, 18 months. It's been interesting. Rates, presidential campaign, inflation, shortage of housing. We face it all countrywide, even globally. So what does your business look like right now? How has it been for 2024? What have you navigated? What have you seen successes? Where you see some failures, and what are you learning from all this?
Yeah, right now I'm seeing a lot of slowdown just from the presidential campaign, and that's normal. And I was prepared for it. When I did my business planning in 2023, I had big goals for this year. I still have big goals. I still think I'll hit them, but I was okay with knowing that right now things might be a little bit slower and people might sit on the sidelines. It happens every time, right? As of right now, I'm working a lot on my systems. I'm working on a lot on just ensuring I'm doubling down on everything. I love my checklist. I like to make sure everything is perfect. I'm very detail oriented. And so right now I'm just going in on everything and making sure it's set up for the way that I want it to be set up for the rest of the year.
Right.
I am also backing up a little bit.
Sure.
In 2024, I found my amazing assistant. Her name is Edie. And so I brought her in 2024. So we're now at the stage where the training has happened. She's my right-hand woman. And she's that. I've had wonderful assistants in the past. I've had some challenges with assistants and building my team and creating what I want from it. And so I'm just very blessed to have found her and to have her support, and we're doing amazing things. And I'm super excited on what the years to come are. She also keeps me young. And so I'm just really excited to see what the future holds with the both of us.
Very cool.
And I also have a lot of pride in helping my mom work less. She's still very active in the business and she wants to continue to be. And she's very well known in her sphere and she's got all of that going for her. But she's got a husband who is retiring, who wants to move to Italy. She wants to travel more. And so I take a lot of pride in being able to give her some of that time back and being able to let her responsibilities feel non-present. And so we're working a lot. We've got a business coach, Dave Worth, and we're working a lot with him on what the coming years will look like as she phases out, as I take on full responsibility, as we navigate a conversation with clients and what that looks like, right? It's new for me. It's new for her.
Sure.
We have a lot of support from Dave. And so I think coming to the end of 2024, it's just we're looking to get a little bit more clarity so it feels good and the partnership feels good and our relationship as mother-daughter continues to be as healthy as it possibly can be. So yeah, that's a little bit of what 2024 is looking like. There's obviously been tons of challenges and a lot of change.
Yeah.
Most recently, the NAR settlement and the...
Don't get me started, girl.
And I actually... I'm also weird about this.
Oh, here we go.
I love change.
Yeah.
The more fear I feel, the better I know it's going to be. Some of my hardest times in life have been when there's a significant amount of change, when there's a significant amount of fear. And if I can just push through that, I know I'll be good. So I thrive in change.
Yeah. I think that's good. So I want to come through a couple points. So thank you for sharing that. So first and foremost, you talk about having a team member and a new assistant. I think that's a common thread amongst top agents, top teams, is having someone, your right-hand person, to support you with things, whether it be to just keep you in line. I thought about this too. I was a solo agent for a couple of years by myself kind of thing. And I did pretty well by myself, but I realized that you want someone to celebrate with you as well. And that's super important, right? Celebrating by yourself is very lonely. It can be a very lonely business in itself, because people, like, you're a real estate agent, you must talk to a lot of people. And yes, that's true. But at the same time, when you're dealing with clients, your relationship can be 30, 60, 90 days only, but then you're meeting new people too. So it's like they're great relationships, don't get me wrong, but they're not really deep, and that takes time for that to happen. But having someone on your side and your team is to always keep you accountable, to celebrate wins together, to have fun together, to sell. All those things are super important. So therefore, giving a high five to someone in your office is massive. Yeah. It's extremely important, because if you have no one there to give a high five to, you're just doing it by yourself. And then what's pushing you, what that kind of thing. And also collaboration. I'm sure your assistant, as well as my director, points out different things. Hey, have you tried this? Have you tried this? This could work. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. And I was taught at an early age is that you want to hire someone for the highest and best. What are they good for? That's what they're really good for. I'm not an admin person. I'm not good with organization in that sense. I'm more of the sales person. I'm more like getting things done. That's who I am. Right? So I knew I need that missing component. And I think you found that missing component was important for you too. And that's huge. And then it comes back to delegation, letting control, letting loose of that, letting go on some things. We realize, hey, time is money. How much time is this taking me where I could be doing other things to bring us both more money? You know what I mean? Okay, that makes sense too, right? So congrats on that. That's a huge win. And I know people who struggle with finding the right person they can really trust and also can help grow with. And that's super important.
Yeah. And just growing leadership skills in general. It's a muscle that I think I've worked organically here and there throughout my life. But when you have somebody that have the opportunity to practice that with, that's been huge for me.
Yeah, it's 100%. And at the same time, like you and myself, we're still learning that part of it too, right? We're not experts in what we're doing, right? We're literally learning at the same time as we're doing kind of thing. So welcoming that 360 coaching, they say, hey, also, I appreciate feedback. Is it working out for you? Do you feel comfortable? Is your workload okay? All that stuff, right? So it's an ongoing thing. I'll tell you right now, it's never gonna be perfect. You're always gonna changing, and hopefully that role for her becomes bigger, and then you're like, oh, I'm getting more responsibility, and that's a better thing too. Such a beautiful thing too. I tell my director all the time, I love when she talks real estate. She doesn't do real estate full time. She's just more my director, but I taught her so well that she can speak on it all day, every day. You know what I mean? So that's good. But you want to make sure that they know the business too, along with what their normal day-to-day operation looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you also talk about change. I'm with you. I reason why I'm in this industry too, because I love change. I worked at corporate jobs where I did the same thing every single day, and it got mundane and got boring for me, and I didn't fill my cup. So therefore, I found something that does. So because we do different things, every day is different, and I love that, right? So that change is important to me. So when you talk about the NAR stuff, I'm with you. I'm not terrified. I'm not scared at all. I just know that, all right, it's game on. Like, I mean, that's what it comes down to. And it's game on, and doing what you're doing, what that made you successful, and continue doing that. And of course, keeping your eyes open to what's going on, and don't take your blinders out. Like literally see the whole picture now, right? See what's working, what's not working. Talk to the people that you admire in the industry. See what's going on, and therefore you can adapt and to be proactive versus reactive. And that's super important too. But having that mindset, Maria, will take you far. I promise you that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, likewise. Mindset is everything.
No, it's huge. It's huge. And I tell everyone, it's so important to literally walk in your office or whatever it is. Like, I got this. Like, today's going to be a great day. I really believe in that, because people feed off that. I always say that people can hear your smile through the phone. People can feel and hear your enthusiasm. I do this every single day, and I still look forward to showing them. I still look forward to doing listening. I look forward to this stuff, and people see that. And I do really love what I do. You know what I mean? It's become it went from a job to a career, now to a passion. And that's what I think that's the progression you want to have too, right? Where you go, man, I love what I do. And the day you hang it up, it could be a sad day, because you put your life and soul into what you did. I can only imagine the athletes, like they do this just so hardcore, and they hang it up, they're crying. I think I'm going to cry when I do that, for real. It's a real thing.
How long have you been in the business?
Not longer than you. So I've been about 10 years total. Yeah. Also college business degree, did business marketing, and then went to new home sales, and then general real estate. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Where did you go to school?
I went to San Diego State first, and then I went to UNLV. Yeah.
Nice.
So
similarities than I even knew.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we do these things. They're great. They're great. So it's super important. Obviously, people have these breakthrough moments in your career. You're like, oh, I can do this, or this is what I always envisioned, kind of thing. Do you have a breakthrough moment in your career? Okay, this is it.
Breakthrough moment. I think what comes to mind is the first time I felt full confidence in myself. And I'm trying to think of how to formulate this in a nice way, because we'll get into it. It was actually during a transaction. Okay. I was representing the buyer. It was a second purchase that I did with this specific family. And on the list side was another agent who I won't mention. But while we were in contract, the agent reached out to my client and on behalf of the seller, and offered a significant price reduction should they cancel the contract with me and have him represent both sides.
My goodness.
No, that sounds absolutely
Oh my word. Okay.
I had just joined DE.
Okay.
And so I'm calling compliance, I'm calling our legal, and our teams are amazing, right? And they're all like, who is this agent, and why is she dealing with this?
It wasn't your mom, right?
My grandma. No, just kidding. No.
Yeah.
And I was obviously, would it be held up in court? Nobody wants to go to court, right? My breakthrough moment is A, my client broaching this with me and letting me know that this was happening. B, my client telling me, Never would they do that. And let me just tell you, the savings that this would have been anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 in savings for my client. Savings, right? I quotation marks on that.
Sure.
When they told me what had happened, and when they said, A, you are like family, B, we would never want anybody else to represent us but you, and C, that you've worked hard for this deal and we want you to close it. And when I received that call, it took me some time to process. We work every single day and we have fiduciary to our clients to have them as top best interest, their best interest in mind. It's not often that it's reversed, where someone is looking out for you in a situation where they really shouldn't have to. That was my breakthrough moment when I realized I am great at what I do. It's being shown not only in the relationships that I have built, but in the trust that my clients have in me. Yeah. And that's just when I realized, because, and I'm sure we all do this, right? But confidence is hard to build. And we all think and see ourselves in different eyes. And something I've worked on a lot. You have to be confident. You have to believe in yourself. You have to, from the bottom of your heart and your gut, no, I'm great at what I do. And that you didn't used to be me. And that was my changing moment where I'm great at what I do.
No, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. So who's that agent? No, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm with you. I think that's a great story in that sense. Yes, I totally respect your story in that sense. It's sometimes you can say yourself you're good at what you do kind of thing, but when you hear from people that you serve and helped and protected, that means the world, 100%. And there's so many times where my clients say the same thing. Hey, JD, let you know I got poached today kind of thing, but you're my guy. I'm like, thank you. Loyalty, huge. But that's something I've created kind of thing. And they're like, hey, JD, they want to do this for me. I told them like, no, I'm sorry. I'm good. You know what I mean? And that's beautiful. That means I did the right thing for them. I built that relationship with them kind of thing. And that's what's important. We do almost like a survey every year to see how many of my past buyers have sold homes without using me. And to this day, I think there's one. And so that just shows like, all right, I'm doing the right thing. I'm creating that loyalty. So that's super important. But whether it be reaching out when you're supposed to, making sure you're there for them all the time. I always tell them, share your script as well. Like, hey, we might be done with this, but I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So I'm here for anything you need, guys. And I truly believe in that too. But there's no better feeling when your clients say, hey, I got you, Maria. Like someone tried to do this, girl, I got you. I just want to let you know what was going on, just so you heard it, just so therefore you heard from my mouth kind of thing, you're good. And that's a comfortable feeling, because in the beginning, when you start your real estate career, you're sleepless nights. I hope I don't lose that client. Hopefully, because you get that. That's the growing process. But once you create your skill set and you build that confidence, like you just said, that tends to go away slowly, because you are confident in yourself. I do got this. I do deserve this. And I deserve you, and you deserve me as well. You know what I mean? And that makes sense. So that's a great story.
Thanks.
As you go hardcore on them, like, oh, you did what?
Yeah. John Butler couldn't believe it when I was telling him what was going on.
No, that's cool. Like I said, and that's also maturity too, keeping your cool. Okay, you know what? I appreciate you calling me, client. Let me find out a little more what this looks like, obviously. And I tell you, in any industry that involves a lot of commission, right? It tends to be a cutthroat industry or whatever it is. So that's why ethics, why they make you do continuing education, they push ethics. It's super important. It's tough, and of course, the harder the market, the worse it could become. So therefore, you gotta always protect yourself and do the right thing for your clients. And I think it's also important that you do the right thing, so therefore you can sleep at night. I sleep soundly in my bed every night because I know I do my best for them every single time. And that's super important, because as bad news travels faster, especially where you're at. My goodness, you're in a peninsula.
Reputation is everything. And my ethics is not just based on wanting to have good reputation. The ethics is in my core. It's who I am. It's how I was raised. It's the person that I want to be and show up in my life and my business every day. And then you have reputation when it is a small town. And you do have to ensure that sometimes you might be doing the right thing, but it doesn't look like that. And so, yes, you always have to have that in mind. And
I think we're in a small city compared to you. Vegas is, I think, 2.8 million people, so nothing crazy big. But with that being said, it's still all type of agents know each other. We all know each other. I can imagine the peninsula where you're at. I'm sure you guys know everybody, so you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody. And while while I do work San Diego and while I do work Coronado as a whole, then it's even smaller, which is the shores. And there's really, we know everyone.
That's funny. I just realized that my mom worked in Coronado for years, and I wonder
Really?
if she knows your mom or your grandma.
Oh my gosh, let's find out.
She worked at the B of A
Okay.
on Coronado. She was a private banker there for years.
You have to ask because
Yeah.
I guarantee you they probably knew each other.
Yeah. I thought about that. I'm like, oh yeah, because so funny is my mom worked at B of A. She worked at La Jolla for a long time, and then she moved to Coronado. Yeah, and then she was like, she told me, Mijo, I love my drive to work every day. The bridge is so beautiful. She bought her she bought her first convertible because of that drive.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's like, I can drive that bridge every day, and then we're like, she loved life. Her hair was all over the place, but she loved it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
so yeah,
I knew each other.
yeah, I'm almost positive. So I'm gonna definitely ask. All right, so because I think the industry is changing completely in the sense of whether it be AI technology, iBuyers, so obviously NRA. There's so many different moving pieces. Where do you see real estate in the next 5 years? Obviously, I consider still me and you pretty young in the industry too. We don't have 20, 25, 30 years. So we saw the last 5 to 7 years kind of thing. Where do you see real estate going from whether it be locally or through your contacts or whatnot?
Sure. I think you hit it spot on, right? So I think AI is going to play a big role where from marketing to how sales are done to how buyers in the next 5-10 years operate, right? You're going to have Generation Z coming into the marketplace. They're going to want to transact from an app. They don't want to. I think technology, obviously, and AI, obviously, it's going to be part of our future. And I think being young in the industry, you really have to hone in on that and make sure you're on top of that. I also think on the technology side of it, I think blockchain, I think cryptocurrency, I think we're going to start seeing globally that's already happening. Nationally, it's really not that accepted yet. Globally, you're seeing places like Dubai, China, Japan, a lot of Asia, cryptocurrency is being used for transactions, even just right next door in Mexico. So I think that will play a role in the future of real estate. In the next 5 years, I think locally some challenges. And when I say locally, San Diego, California, really nationally too, I think affordability is going to continue to be an issue.
Yeah.
I can see the rates. We'll see what happens with the rates. People are comparing rates to what it was 3 years ago, but that's not the norm. So that always surprises me, and rates will be rates. But I think affordability, I think supply will continue to be a challenge as much as there are plans for building. And I just think supply is going to continue to be an issue.
Yeah.
Locally in Coronado in the next 5 years, I think luxury second homes, especially with the type of clientele I work with a lot of Mexican buyers.
Yep.
They're buying safety here. They're buying their kids being able to go to the ice cream shop on the bike by themselves.
Got it.
And they're buying the availability to have a second home in a place that's safe. I think that's going to just continue to keep prices rising. Coronado also, there's really not a lot more land there isn't more land, so it's hard to build. Yep. You can't really build up. It's really just a change from old houses built in the 20s, 50s to newer homes. Coronado, I think the supply and demand will continue to be what it is, and I think demand is just much higher. So I think prices will continue to rise in Coronado. What have we not touched on? Sustainability. I think in the luxury sector, sustainability is huge. Amenities. I'll give you an example. I was just talking to a client who's building a massive project in Puerto Vallarta.
Nice.
A little bit like up towards Punta Mita, which is just more private, quiet. It's got really.
I've been to the Four Seasons out there.
Yeah, all the beautiful hotels. So they have a huge development where your starting price point is going to be 10 million for a house. And the amenities, aside from your sustainable projects and the health and fitness, you're going to have your saunas and your cold plunges. You can book a cacao ceremony on a Friday evening as part of the amenities with your friends and invite them over. And you can have a shaman come by and clean your house. And when I say clean, not like clean the energies. I really see a lot of that in luxury, more connected to nature, more connected to sustainability, climate change.
Interesting. That's fascinating, actually.
Kind of
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. So let's talk about AI. I'm with you. I think AI, obviously, it's everywhere. It's prevalent now. They're on your cell phone, so it's game changer for sure. How are you utilizing AI at this moment?
Yeah. Not as much as I would like, to be honest. ChatGPT is my best friend,
Sure.
but I think that just is like tip of the iceberg. That's helping me on my day to day and with Instagram posts. And when I have questions about, I use it for literally everything
Yeah.
from zoning to questions about the market, to comparables, to market research, all of it. But I am not where I want to be with AI.
Sure.
So that's where it stops for me. Yeah. How
Yeah.
are you using it?
It's pretty much the same level you are
Okay.
from for copywriting, for markets, all this stuff, kind of thing. I think it's great for that. But to your point, we haven't dived as much into different things. But my director is all about she's technology. She's the one that's
Yeah.
pushing us forward, whether it be AI for graphics, AI for copy, all that stuff right now. But I think it's going to be ever evolving, ever changing. So I think it's to stay on top of it is important. But it's key. It's huge. It's a time saver. It's awesome. People think, oh, it's like kind of cheating. I'm like, not necessarily, because it's definitely your thoughts and your figures and whatnot. They're just formulated in a better way. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's no different than having a copywriter or whatnot. So it's the same thing, which is great. It's just more accessible. But I just don't know. There's gonna be an AI war. AI is not war, but AI wars between the companies because everyone has an AI now, from Microsoft, Apple, ChatGPT. I mean, there's so many different ones. I'm curious of where people are going to start using for different things. So that's my curiosity. I do enjoy technology. I do enjoy that. If it's anything to save me time, I'm in. But obviously, I'm also not one just to dive deep completely. I take my time to see if it is it good, is it legitimate. That's important too. But that's how we use AI right now. But now I'm with you. I think affordability is an issue. There's no doubt about that, right? Our incomes have not come close to what our home prices have come to. I know San Diego is ranked top 3 or 5 as the most expensive city in all the U.S. So I know you're feeling that for sure. We're obviously a lot of your people are coming to us because of it.
Yes.
But I definitely see that, and it's different. And I just don't know what. Obviously, something's going to change on the road, which we'll see what happens. Obviously, rates are one of the things that's it's cyclical, right? It's a good. It's ebbs and flows. It's going to go up and down. It's like a market, and anything you do, right? You got to ride it when you can, and sell when you need to. But that's what I think. What's good about us is obviously I tell my clients that we have boots on the ground. We're literally have ears to the floor. We're hearing, we're seeing, we're really active in this industry. Therefore, we know what's going on. The rule of thumb is if it's in the news, it's too late. That means you're already behind, right? Our job as real estate professionals is to get out information as soon as we know, so our buyers and sellers have the most up-to-date information and as quick as possible, right? So they can do what they need to do before anyone else does, right? So they go, dude, Maria told me months ago this was happening, and I capitalize on it. Thank you, Maria. You know what I mean? And that's what you want, right? But if they hear in the news, it's already too late. You know what I mean? So that's my theory. So being in front of it is super important too.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the luxury sector too, I know I do. I'm the higher pricer here in Vegas too. A lot of it's cash. A lot of it's cash or second homes kind of thing. So we're still seeing liquidity out there. So I'm curious what's going to happen with other goods, whether it be gold and silver and all those things. So I'm seeing people move things around, but I do think the election here is really it's going to determine a lot of people's direction. So I'm curious what that is. But like you said, nationwide, it's a standstill. Same thing. People are literally seeing what's going to happen, and not saying I don't fault them for it. I get it, you know what I mean. But obviously, we're still here to support you with whatever that happens.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm seeing people capitalizing really well at this moment too. So.
Yeah, I think if I was on the market for a home right now, I would literally buy right now. I think it's the best time to buy.
Agreed.
I'm not in the market to buy a home right now, but when other people aren't buying, that's when you need to be buying.
Agreed. And that's one of my scripts too for me, my agents. Hey, yes, you're waiting, but so are a million other people. So therefore, do you want to be in competition or do you not want to be? You tell me, like, trust me, but I want to make sure you know this now before you go, JD, I should know. I told you, I tried to. And my job is because yes, rates are higher now, but once again, you can refi, right?
Yeah.
But would you rather pay higher for a home or that you can't change because you can't refi the purchase price, but you can refi your rate, right? But as we're saying the same thing.
And I think it's also always I'm the type to always put myself in the shoes of someone else.
Yeah.
And so putting myself in the shoes of, we've got our sellers right now in listings where the listings are not moving that much. We're marketing as much as we can. They're priced, you name it. If they were to receive an offer right now, it's likely they're more likely to negotiate because other buyers are not making offers.
Right.
And so I think that there are deals to be made right now. But then again, if people want to wait, people want to wait.
Agreed. Yeah, and I tell you, I always tell I'm never going to force you to buy or sell. That's not my job. My job is to protect you, guide you, and give you the benefits of this property amongst other properties you selected. Ultimately, you're the one living in the home. I'm not going to live in the home, right? So you make the decision if you want to, because that's super important. But yeah, you can't force anybody for sure. But to your point, if there's listings out there and you're getting an offer, the odds of them wanting to negotiate is much higher. Because you don't know what the seller's motivation is. They might have something in their eye and let's get it done. I want this next property. And the likelihood of you too, Maria, maybe you tell me equity, people have a lot of equity right now in these homes, right? So they're not like losing or cutting or it's on a wash. So people are seeing the bigger picture. Like, okay, I might not be taking this much money, but I am taking this much money to the home I really want. It might make sense. And you got to put a price on happiness too. Are you happy in your current situation? No. Then what does that look like? Does that make you happy? And like, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I should do this. And but that's our job to identify that for them too. And
Absolutely.
that's why we're trained to do what we do.
Yeah.
So obviously being in the industry for the 7 years, you're still new. I consider you're a vet for sure, but we have still time to learn as well.
So much to learn.
And it's an ever-changing industry too. And I never say that you're an expert. I think we're really good at what we do, but it's always evolving, whether it be rules, regulations, inventory, product types, you name it. All of it. So what would you give advice to an agent right now during this market, a new agent or whatnot? What would you tell them from what you experienced over the years?
Yeah. I would say go head on. And this kind of touches on what I mentioned earlier. If it scares you, do it.
Yeah.
If
makes you uncomfortable.
If it makes you uncomfortable, do it. If it's going to get you out of your comfort zone, do it.
Yeah.
And it's a challenging business. It's definitely not an easy business to come into. A few years ago, everybody was getting licensed, and it's a challenging business. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But if it's something that you want to do, if it's something that's calling you, if it's something that you're interested in, absolutely do it. If you are able to have a mentor, even better. But just get out there, do your best, educate yourself, show up for yourself and for your clients every day, have a good routine, work with a good brokerage, and just go for it.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. No, that's huge. I think you nailed my top ones are for sure. Get a mentor. Find someone that who can learn from kind of thing. And I really believe it rubs off on you. If you really absorb, see what they're doing, I want to do that. Oh, I like that kind of thing. Like I said from our earlier conversation, like pick different things you like from different people and then try to create the agent that you are, but also be authentic to who you are. And that's super important too, because if you're not authentic to who you are, that will only last you so long, right? So find what that is and find who you are and find your voice. And that's super important too, right? You don't want to be fake in this industry because people can read that from a mile away. And that's also exhausting for yourself. Imagine not being that same person all the time. And that's important too. But go head on, like you said, go head on, dive deep. You never know what will work until you try it, right? So you got to try different things. And Maria, probably like you and me, I have 5, 6, 7 funnels where I get my clients from, right? And they change depending on various things, right? Find what works out for you. You never know until you try thing. But once you find that thing, go hard, go all in kind of thing. You never know. That could be your thing. And also my biggest thing is don't compare. That's one thing we all do. It's hard not to. It's to compare, especially with social media these days. Oh man, he got that listing. Oh, he sold that home. It's hard not to compare because it's a very competitive field as well at what we do. And we're one of the only fields I can think of that people celebrate their wins or their business wins on social media.
So publicly too.
So public, right? You don't see a tax account and go, oh, new client. No, you know what I mean? It's different, right? So therefore you can get judged, good and bad. The envy becomes a problem too, kind of thing. And so it can be healthy and not healthy. As long as you know how to perceive it, to motivate you, to learn from, then great. But if it starts to derail you or bring you down, that's unhealthy.
Yeah. And that's with everything, right? The comparison is with everything. But yeah, definitely in this business. And you got to take the Instagram post with a grain of salt. It's just what we have to do. We have to create content. Sometimes I got to post this whole thing and nobody actually cares. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we talked a lot about your history and all your stuff. So your price point out there, Coronado, if you don't know Coronado, It's very pricey in a good way. I think it's worth the dollar amount. It's beautiful. Coronado is, like I said, a peninsula. You have a beautiful bridge that goes to it. You have Hotel Del. They don't have a single fast food restaurant on the peninsula either, too. So they really try to, I think it's like they preserve it. I think it's a great word. They really preserve what they have there. And that's what's maintained the price point and the desirability. I know a lot of military, still like 5 4-star generals live there in Coronado too. I know the Navy SEALs do train on the beach there, so the buds train to do that too. What else do you love about Coronado? What makes you sell this with pride every single day?
Ooh, that's a good question. What makes me sell this with pride every single day? I don't know if it's so much about Coronado or if it's about the people that I get to meet.
Mm.
I love Coronado for all of the reasons that you just mentioned. Coronado has a very special place to my heart, from the fact that it has provided me with the life that I live today, the safety that I have, the memories, family, and with all the things that you mentioned. But I don't have as big of a connection with Mexico as I used to, because really I live here, but I am still Mexican.
Mhm.
And this allows me to have a connection with Mexican clientele. I would say my clientele is made up of around 50 to 60% Mexican nationals, right? So it allows me to continue speaking Spanish.
Cool.
And a lot of them are from Mexico City. It allows me to continue building those relationships. Sometimes I know that their kids, I went to school with them, I would have probably still been friends with them. They know my cousins, my aunt. And so it's a tie to that life and those connections and being able to still grow with that. And I've never actually thought of that, but it just came to mind.
I love this. So tell people who are watching it, how far are you from the border?
I can get into TJ and have a taco in 20 minutes.
Look at that. Like, doesn't get any better than that. Very cool. I think that's good. I think that you mentioned the people. I think that's what's beautiful, right? The people who there are the ones who really appreciate where they're at too, right? And that's beautiful. Obviously, San Diego. It's funny. San Diego has a lot of different pockets from just. It's very interesting pockets. You know what I mean? It's very different in one pocket to another. But Coronado's always maintained Coronado kind of thing. You say Coronado, like, oh. It's almost like you get relaxed. Oh, Coronado. It's so cool.
It really is. You mentioned your mom driving over with the convertible and going to work.
Yeah.
I'm not numb to it. You think you get numb to it? I drive across that bridge and I say to myself not every single day, that's too much. But I drive over that bridge and I feel gratitude. I am looking at the ocean. I'm looking at the San Diego skyline. I'm looking at this beautiful, gorgeous bridge that I'm driving on. I can see the Hotel Del. I can see my business from the bridge, right? The 10 biggest towers. And Coronado, it's peace. It's safety. It's a town like no other. If anyone watching this has never been here, please call me. I'll take you out to lunch. It's an awesome place.
No, it's a great place. I love it there. Like I said, it has a soft spot in my heart because of what it is. But all in San Diego is beautiful. Don't get me wrong; it's all beautiful. Just Coronado is just different, just a different beast, different place. And you're very blessed, and very obviously you expressed how lucky and how you feel the gratitude being able to go to there every single day, and that's great. So let's make you more jealous. What's the temperature right now over there?
Oh my gosh, it's gloomy today, but it's got to be like a nice 74 degrees.
74 degrees. Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. So before I let you go, I had some fun questions to ask you, which is fun. So it keeps you on your toes kind of thing. So we're going to keep on the Coronado train kind of thing. What's your favorite restaurant in Coronado right now?
Right now, favorite restaurant in Coronado. Might have to say the Henry, which is just, everyone goes to the Henry, but the food is good.
Very cool. All right, music. What music are you listening to right now? What band or what song or a singer?
Okay, OB. I am seeing them this Saturday. My birthday's on Saturday. They're my
happy birthday.
Favorite band of all time, and they happen to be playing my birthday. So I'm going to LA to go see them. It's 3 people. They're from Austria. She sings.
Okay.
The guy does a synthesizer, so it's electronic music, and then there's a guy on the drums.
Wow. What was it? HVOB?
HVOB. Yeah.
Wow.
They're different, but I'm obsessed with them.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So last 2 questions. Travel. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
Oh my God, that's so hard. I think right now I'm itching to go back to Japan.
I've heard wonderful things about Japan.
It's amazing.
Everyone who's gone there is super clean, super safe. The people are super friendly, and the food off the charts.
Yeah, it just has another very special place in my life from being there. And the yen right now, I think it's a good time to go. The yen
Very
is
cool.
the currency. Yeah.
Yep. No, very cool, very cool. Last question is, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
My dad.
Oh,
Why? Because I miss him.
I
And
love
I
it.
have so many questions.
I love that. I love that. I'll say I appreciate you obviously being on this. We just had the hour mark, which is awesome. It goes by super fast, which is awesome. Last is that how above her is her social media handle. You can follow her on social media. She's very active on social media as well. Like she did mention, reach out to her, Coronado. Sure, like us in Vegas, I'm also a slash realtor slash tour guide. I'm sure Maria's the same way. She'll tell you exactly where to go, where to visit, where to eat, all that stuff too. Reach out to her out in Coronado. But where else can they find you? Do you do like websites or do you do anything else?
Yeah, I've got my website, theshorescoronado.com. I've got on YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Me, all of that good stuff. But Instagram is definitely my go-to.
Cool. And last question was your team. How big is your team now? Is it who's on your team right now?
It's me and my assistant right now.
Oh,
And then my mom who trickles in here and there, brings us some deals here and there, makes
for
some
sure.
calls here and there. She's also enjoying herself. So right now it's just Edie and I.
Very cool. Love it. Small but mighty. I'm the same way. I love it.
Small but mighty.
Very cool. Maria, pleasure talking to you. Nice seeing you again. Best of luck to the rest of 2024. We'll see what's ahead of us. I'll definitely be visiting you in the near future up in San Diego. And of course, when you're in Vegas, we're here for you as well.
I absolutely will. JD, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate you. So I'll hope to
Appreciate
see
you
you
too.
soon.
All right. Thanks, Maria.
Okay, bye.